All right, guys. Well, we've got a lot to do tonight, so let's go on and get started. I know that Cloudy Nights has taken the position that um, they don't want to do anything political, but I must admit I just want to share a personal testimony. I felt a little bit of mixed feelings tonight, thinking, should we be enjoying the stars while we had fellow citizens of this planet that were battling for their very lives? And I don't know how to say it other than I finally just thought, maybe this gives the planet a bit of release. And if somebody from Ukraine happens to be, on YouTube and they see this, I hope it can give them some relief. But I finally just thought, well, let's go ahead with this. But I did think it might be fun, without any comment, in deference to Cloudy Nights administration. I did think it would be fun, though, if we just did like a moment of silence for the people of Ukraine. And doesn't have to be very long. And I'm not suggesting we make any political comments, but let's just do a moment of silence for the people of Ukraine. Is that okay with you guys? All right, we'll just do a moment of silence without any political comments. We'll just do a moment of silence for the people of Ukraine. Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. I don't know where to begin. Is there somebody who'd like to volunteer who's got some stars to show us? All right, Brian, you're on.
Okay. Sharing my screen.
Share your screen or whatever.
So
oh,
that's
my goodness.
That's 3
beautiful.
minutes and 30 seconds of Orion.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Now tell us what you're running here, Brian.
I'm running an Celestron 8 SE with a Hyperstar version 3.
Nice.
ASI 533 MC Pro. I'm running a IDIS, however you want to pronounce it, LPS D3 filter on a CGX mount, which I got a week ago. Guy didn't like it. It wasn't guiding well. And so I got a steel on it. And like I said, I've had that a week. And go ahead and ask me how long I've been doing astronomy.
How long have you been doing astronomy, Brian?
What time is it? I got my AVX mount about 3 months ago. Actually, sorry, no. I got the initial alt azimuth mount 3 months ago. I've had 3 different mounts in just a little under 3 months, and so I've been playing around with this since middle of December.
That's great.
We're impressed, Brian. So what was your biggest struggle, Brian?
I think the biggest struggle I'm having is I live in kind of, you can't really, I don't know if you can see the backyard. It's, I live on an airport, and airports have lots of lights. And so there's an industrial area. And so my front yard, I do my stuff from my front yard where most people do it from their backyard. So learning to deal with the lighting, light pollution, what filters to use, what exposure works best in light polluted areas. And then kind of, maybe not as EAA-ish, but, which filters to use on which objects. Certain objects respond better to certain filters, and that's still kind of an interesting thing. Just 20. I have a programming computer background, so most of it comes fairly easy. I have a mini PC. I decided to go with a B-Link i8 10th generation with 16 gig of RAM and 512 gigabyte SSD drive. Sorry. And I didn't like the fanless unit because it didn't seem to do well with live stacking and plate solving, and it just seemed to kind of zone out on remote desktop. And so I'm dealing with power supply issues and stuff like that. So I'm getting a new 500 plus watt hour lithium iron phosphate, battery system. And I've made a commitment to not just run 12 volts. I made a commitment to run an inverter because the mini PC is what, 16 to 19 volts. And a lot of people get very, talk about political, whether you should run an inverter or not. And people get, really, really have strong feelings on that. But I've committed to doing that just because I want a PC that has some horsepower and I don't have to deal with it, dogging out on me. So, it's all work in progress.
Did you try one of the 12-volt fanless systems, and that's what drove you towards the B-Link unit?
Oh yeah, I got one from Amazon. I hooked it up. Everything, running simulations worked fine. The minute I got it out observing, I would remote into it, and all of a sudden it would just drop the connection.
Which one did you get?
I had the Mealy, the 4 N4125. And I guess there's one right above that, but I just decided, all in. I'm getting, the 10th generation i5 has, like 3 times the CPU. The everything's just so much faster. And I don't know if anybody's ever run Stellarium. I don't really want to run Stellarium even on this one because it just kills the computer.
Well, I don't know if you guys can Stellarium over an RDP connection is awful on any PC. Even if it doesn't matter what CPU or RAM you throw at it, Stellarium on an RDP connection is unusable.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Actually, I've been wanting to use a Windows PC, and I have, of course, a kind of a desktop type build. I build my own computers, and I recently came to the conclusion that, what am I doing looking for like some small PC when I can get like a battery power system, one of those Duracell has one, a Costco has one from Duracell. And these things are like, 1,000 watt hours or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they can, and those are like, whatever, 400, 500 bucks. Why buy another computer? I could just take my desktop. I have a portable monitor. That's the way to go. The way I see it, because we really need the horsepower, even though it's like not the desktop is like way overpowered, but still it's a pretty efficient thing. And I have a really good video card, and why bother with even a laptop for this? I totally agree with you. That's the thought I've had recently as well.
I did have good luck with my Mealy fanless system, but I'm not using it as for doing any of the heavy lifting for EAA stacking. It's out there simply serving using Alpaca remote server, and then my desktop that I'm actually on this Zoom call with is upstairs in my office, and I'm using it to connect to all the ASCOM devices that the ASCOM server application on the Mealy is providing to my desktop machine. So I'm not using RDP at all. It's a client server relationship, and it works awesome.
Yeah, if you can see my task manager, I have a lot of room to grow on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm running the remote server and Alpaca. I have my Sky Safari running remotely. And the camera the screen is in the way. I want to, it's complaining. I want to plate solve. No, don't really need to. There's M1.
So what's the biggest thing you're working on now, Brian? What's the biggest challenge you have remaining?
That I know of. The biggest challenge is what I don't know, probably, because there's a lot I don't know. I want to go out to some darker sites occasionally. So just getting it where I've got a DeWalt modular tool set up where I can do that. Getting the batteries going to be helpful. I think I don't like the idea of disassembling the Hyperstar and traveling with it and putting it together on a remote site just for a few hours. But I refuse to go anywhere with it hooked up. It's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
To break the corrector. And
Right.
so but I'd like to get out once in a while, because getting out to some of these remote sites is pretty cool. I can't even pick out the Little Dipper where I'm at. It's there's certain things I just can't see. And
You might consider an 8-inch f4 imaging newt for taking out there with your AVX. That would be the perfect thing.
Yeah, and I've told my wife I may not be selling the AVX. I'll kind of play it by ear. The CGX is a little bit bulky. So yeah, I'm keeping my options open on that, definitely. There we go, M1.
Brian, remind us of where you're observing from tonight.
Oh,
What city?
I am about 35 miles east of Sacramento, up towards South Lake Tahoe, between Folsom and Placerville, and a
Wow.
place called Cameron Park.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Anybody have any questions or thoughts for Brian? Okay, Brian, good to have you aboard.
All right.
Yeah.
Keep an image going there, and
Oh, you want me to keep it up?
well, I mean, you don't have to keep sharing the screen, but
Oh,
every once in a while we'll come back to you. How about
no
that?
problem.
Curtis,
Hey,
you wanna
since
go
we got,
next?
Brian, I
Since we got-
was going to suggest that if you go to niceguyesnetwork.com, one of the broadcasters that frequently broadcasts is up in your neck of the woods. So
Oh,
I'm guessing Loomis or something.
no,
No?
it's, what's his name? I'll try to see if I can remember his name.
Yeah, see if you can post it in the chat. What it
Sure,
is. if
sure.
there's a link. You said it was nightskies dot what?
Niceguyesnetwork.com.
okay.
Hey,
Curtis,
guys.
you want to go next?
Oh, sure, I
technical
can.
question before we continue. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yes.
sure. Yes, go ahead.
To help me out. It's curious. I'm viewing you guys on an LG TV, which I think is an Android system. And every time when Brian shared his screen, I can't see what he shares. I can see the rest of the video stream. Like I can see everything now. Okay, I can see I can see me in the center. But when someone shares, that shared screen goes black. I just wondered if anyone.
It probably has to do with
Figure
that
out on
second screen effect. Somebody that's worked a lot with a second screen, kind of talk him through that, please. Mike, have you done that a lot? No? How about you, Jeff Horn? You done that a lot?
I have not. You talking about mirroring to a TV? I have not.
Well,
I'm not
yeah.
mirroring. No, I'm not mirroring to a TV. I'm logged on using an LG smart TV via the internet, and it's curious. When Brian shared his screen, that
Mhm.
area of the screen, the shared screen, is blank. Is black.
Okay,
No, I haven't seen that.
I'll take a
You
crack
haven't
at
seen
it.
Yeah.
If you do Windows D, so hold down your Windows key and hit D, and you get your desktop, and then you go right click. Isn't there some kind of a
Yeah, I'm not on a keyboard. I'm controlling this through a remote, the TV
Oh,
remote.
yeah, that's not my area. So somebody else is gonna have to help with it.
Okay, don't worry. I'll figure it out. I just thought
Okay.
someone might have. Don't worry. Carry on, guys.
All
Sorry.
right. Well, Curtis, you build your own computers. If you got any thoughts for say, go ahead. But otherwise, Curtis, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
You know, I was going to say that sounds like might be a Zoom issue. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about niceguyesnetwork.com real quick. So
Okay.
they have, I'll post a link to right now there's a kind of a beta site that's being worked on. And hold on, I'm on a call. She's 4, so she might not stop.
That's okay.
Anyway,
We have
So,
good
come here.
mercy for
Come here.
her.
Look-
If you need
look
to
at
talk to
everyone.
her, go ahead.
say hi. So she likes attention. So
That's awesome. Awesome.
So yeah, I posted the link. You guys can take a look. So that's the beta site, and pretty soon here it should be the new site. So it's fixed a lot of the sound issues and everything else that was going on before. So if you want to take a look, and right now what I was telling Brian is NorCal Sky. That's the broadcaster that's up in his neck of the woods. So
NorCal Sky. Okay.
yeah, he has a Raza 8 and both done if you guys open that up, actually I can share my screen, right? So let me share my desktop one.
I have a question. What to do for the Bobby, for my Bobby that
Okay.
Grandma bought?
Yeah, go ask your grandma if you can look for it over there.
She's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, she is. Okay, here, I'm sharing the screen now. It should pop up. So let's see here. Do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
I do now.
So you see it's new.niceguyesnetwork.com. That's the beta site. And you see both Don and NorCal Sky is Bob, I believe. And both of them are very, very good at using SharpCast. So I would highly recommend watching their broadcasts, picking their brains. They're like artists. I mean, it's amazing. So you might find on NSN that people were talking about this, and I'm just going to go listen only here. So so really, this site is built on the framework of something called Big Blue Button, which was meant for education, like having classrooms. Looks like he's barely bringing up Galaxy right now, and so you can see that right now it doesn't show my name in here. It's a beta site, so it's really not like fully fleshed out. But if I leave the meeting, I can go back in, put my name, and then they'll see that I'm there, right? So I show up on the left. But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys that that's getting going. And what we're trying to do is make it so that if you're a broadcaster and you want to broadcast, like let's say you're broadcasting on YouTube, because I know a lot of you guys are doing that, and that's really great. And if you want to broadcast on here too, we're trying to make it so that you can go in here and then take your live broadcast link from YouTube and put it in here, and it'll show up on NSN like your
Nice.
so that way you don't have to juggle as many things, you know. So that's something that we're trying to get working. It's not, like I said, it's still in the beta phase. Yeah, so that's what's going on with NSN. And let's see if I can bring up.
Did you say there was another one, NorCal Sky one?
Yeah, that was the other broadcaster that was there. And so I'll go into his broadcast. Looks like he's using, oh, maybe he stopped.
I think he just stopped.
Yeah, he might have just stopped. So, okay, so it's just Don right now.
Okay. And those are all on Night Skies now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
basically, whenever you start broadcasting, it shows up as that blue dot, pulsating dot.
Okay.
We're trying to get it to be like a screenshot, like if you put a thumbnail and that thumbnail shows up for your broadcast.
So if I want to live stream my stuff, I can just put it on there.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
so to go on here, so basically, if you want to sign up, you can sign up as a broadcaster.
Yeah.
And no, excuse me. Let me stop this call. Yeah, and we might have to redo things once it gets to the full, but yeah, like I said, this is the beta site.
Where are you physically based out of?
Me, I'm in Southern California.
Okay.
And the owner of the site, Joe, he's back east in
Okay.
I forget exactly what state. So I helped Joe out find a developer that does this. Actually, the developer working on this is the vice president of the OCA, Orange County Astronomers. So he's kind of gotten us this far. So we're hoping he finishes it. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I've been very busy lately, not much time for astronomy, but I'm doing space related things. So it's really exciting.
That's awesome. Curtis, when you are observing, remind us which is your favorite scope.
Oh, my favorite scope is any imaging Newtonian.
Okay.
So I have a 12-inch f4.
Wow.
It was a TPO that was given to me. Somebody had it in the garage. I helped him out setting up, and he gave it to me. And I took it to Dop Stuff and got them to build a kind of a structure for that thing, and it's really great. So I use that with my CGEM. I also have an 8-inch f4 that I'm gonna buy a AVX mount for, or maybe somebody will buy that for me for the AVX mount. Who knows? But right now the main scope I use is a 6-inch f4 imaging Newtonian. It's actually behind me. Let me turn off the virtual
Zoom.
background real quick. Put it on none. It's actually right over there. You should be able to see it. It's on a CGEM or a,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So that's what I
That's-
use most of the time.
That's a handy scope, isn't it?
Yeah, because I could put it in a little rolling dolly and just set up and be out in the yard or a park or whatever.
Exactly.
So That's what I mainly use.
Cool. Well, Curtis, it's great to have you on. Are you going to try to do the marathon then if you have clear skies this weekend?
Yeah, that's for this weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if I have
Okay,
clear skies, I'm
great.
definitely going to be trying.
And Brian, you are as well, right?
I don't know.
All right.
Absolutely.
Mike Jerry, do you want to tell us how things have been going in your neck of the woods? I know you said you had cloudy skies tonight, but bring us up to date on what you've been working on and how things are going with your observing.
Well, really briefly, I got, you guys probably know I've been using an evolution on a wedge for a long time now. And I got a great deal on a basically brand new AVX. And so I picked that up 3 weeks ago, and I've been playing with that. I just kind of loosened the tension on the RA axis on it, so it's nice and loose and free. And because I've been out a couple of nights and I'm getting a little bit of inconsistent tracking at 60 seconds, unguided, of course. I'm trying to stay away from guiding if I possibly can. And so just a little bit of inconsistent subs. Most subs are nice round stars, but then I'll get one that's streaked. And so I just kind of been going through, I took it apart just enough to be able to loosen the tension on the RA axis on it, so it's nice and loose and free. And so just haven't had a chance to get out and use it since, due to weather and one thing and another. It's been pretty lousy weather here. Old man winter blew in here pretty violently this last week. And so I just haven't had any good weather to be able to get out and use it again. Except, of course, until tonight when it was supposed to be cloudy, so I didn't bother, and now it's not. So anyway, so yeah, it's I've just been working on that, and this is my first GEM. So I've been on Alt-Az for this, the entire time so far.
Wow.
This is my first GEM. Well, it's my first motorized GEM. I had an old Mayflower refractor back from the 70s a few years ago. And so that was my first real GEM. This one is the first motorized go-to GEM. And yeah, I've used it a few nights, and it's working pretty well. I sold my StarSense off, finally, my beloved StarSense that I loved for so long, because I'm 100% imager and a plate solver, it's really just completely not needed.
Right.
So I ended up just selling that off. So yeah, I'm running now. The scope is just basically just the scope and a camera. I don't even have a finder scope on it because you don't need that either. So it's just exactly the same scope Curtis just showed you. Well, you guys know, you've seen my streams. Exact same scope, except now I don't even have the StarSense camera on it anymore. So it's just that scope on the AVX, and hopefully soon I'll be able to go out and do some more streams. I have been streaming on Night Skies Network. I've done 3 or 4 streams on Night Skies Network, the new one, and it works very well. I'm just hoping, Curtis, I hope you're listening. I'm just hoping that they give us the ability to record them, because that would be very cool. Of course, if we, I guess I didn't quite understand, Curtis. You're going to give people the ability to put their YouTube link in, and it will simulcast the NSN broadcast?
Yeah, when you're a broadcaster, you can put a link. One of the tools in there that's available, if the developer unlocks it, is to put a link to a live broadcast in there. So that'll be broadcast to whoever's on Night Skies Network. So
okay, so I'm not understanding. So you put a YouTube link in, so when you're broadcasting on NSN, it simulcasts to YouTube?
No, when you're broadcasting on YouTube, it simulcasts to NSN.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, that's the absolute opposite of what I want. One of the nice things about NSN is you don't have to deal with OBS. You don't have to deal with YouTube. You don't have to deal with all this other software. It just incorporates everything all in one, and you just get to broadcast. What I'd like to do is to be able to either simulcast that on YouTube or simply record it, because Big Blue Button in their tutorials, the instructor can usually record the class. And so even if we
Right.
can just record our broadcast, then we can post it up on YouTube ourselves.
Yeah.
Because, I have a lot of friends and family on the East Coast who just can't stay up late enough to, see them live. So I would love to be able to get my NSN broadcast onto YouTube one way or the other.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that we were hoping that the developer could do is get a way to simulcast onto a YouTube channel. And because there's YouTube channels that have multiple streams at the same time, live streams. So far, there hasn't been a word. The developer basically has said that, okay, he doesn't think that he can get that working at this point. So
Well, yeah, but according to the Big Blue
investigating
Button, according to the Big Blue Button tutorial, there's supposed to be a recording function built in. It
well, yeah,
shouldn't take any coding.
understood about that. I'm talking about, we were asking him to actually, when someone
Do a
broadcasts,
simulcast.
to automatically broadcast it on
Right.
YouTube, connected. So
Yeah.
that hasn't.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks
that I
like
would imagine would be much more difficult.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping we could get the record option. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I'll pass that along to Joe, because what might be possible is that because there's a server, right, that he's paying for that in the background, right? So it has a certain amount of storage. So when people record, that can start filling that up. So, but if it's something that's like maybe one or two recordings and then you have to take it out and it covers itself, maybe that might be possible. I'll talk to him and let him know that that's a desire.
Right. Yeah, I was hoping, I was thinking it could just be recorded locally, but maybe that would be another problem to try and record locally for, I don't know. If it can't be done locally, I wouldn't expect Joe would want to do it, because no, you'd be plugging a server up really fast if people are recording their stuff. So, yeah, okay, thank you. But anyway, all that to say, yes, I have been broadcasting on NSN and it works really well. The new site is really great. So thanks, Curtis, for helping get that thing going. It's been really nice to be able to do it, and it's so much simpler than dealing with either Zoom or YouTube, because you have to deal with the broadcasting software and you have to deal with a bunch of other steps. So it's just really nice to go on there and do it. But anyway. Yeah, I think that's what I've been up to. Other than health challenges and things, I've been fine.
Well, Mike, we're sorry about health challenges. I hope it's nothing serious.
Well, I'm having like neuropathy in my extremities, and we don't know why.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's no idea.
Wow. Sorry to hear that, man. Well, we'll be remembering you for sure, brother. All
Thanks.
right, let's see. Out on the West Coast, what have you been working on, brother?
Well, I mean, I've actually got 2 clear nights in February, which was a record for this winter so far. So, I actually got to do the February challenge, and the thing that's been keeping me this busy this month is actually preparing for the March challenge, since I'm responsible for it. So, I've been it was a good way to spend a lot of the cloudy nights, was trying to figure out what to have people look for the March challenge. But other than that, not much.
Wow. So two clear nights. I bet that's been fun though.
One of them was great. The last one, I ran into some weird color gradients, which we have now. I posted up on the boards, and there's a theory of why that happened. And hopefully that theory is correct. And it wasn't some weird thing with my hardware, but just sky conditions.
Right. So you're hoping to do the marathon, but you're afraid it's going to be.
It's almost guaranteed to be cloudy, and
is that right?
I probably actually won't have now time to do the marathon during the day. My son just recently told me he's coming home and wants to go hiking, and since it's a very rare thing for him to come home and ask to do something, I'm probably going to end up doing that.
All right. I don't blame you a bit. Well, say if we reschedule for April, if it's lost this weekend, you might be able to do the April date, huh?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, April tends to be a little bit better here in Seattle.
Okay. All right. Let's see who else is West Coast. I guess Jeff Horn, are you sort of out that direction? You're 2 hours. You're at Mountain Time, aren't you?
Mountain Time, that's right.
Why don't
I'm in
you go ahead?
Montana.
Why don't you go ahead, Jeff? What's going on in your life?
Weather. Yeah, just like the rest of the guys, I haven't had much time to image, just because we've either had snow or clouds, or when it's clear, it's been really windy. Like I set up this Friday night, got some good imaging done, and then last night was supposed to be good, and I left everything set up in the yard with a trash bag, and it was like 20-mile-an-hour winds, and I just packed everything up. So
Wow.
that's sort of been the story since, gosh, December, it seems
Oh,
like.
That's so
Um,
sad.
I do a little bit of both things now. I told you last time that I've sort of delved into astrophotography a bit, and so I have a refractor on a SEM 70 like you, and I use that for AP, and then I have the Edge 8 on a EQR 6 that I do for EAA. So I have a little bit of best of both worlds, and really with Montana winters, the last probably month and a half or 2 months, I've been trying to get the Wi-Fi situation settled at my house so that I can stay inside and image. And it's been a real tough thing. I've tried a couple different routers, and actually I can report that tonight for the first time I'm able to connect to my stuff in the yard and stay in. So I'm just going to share my screen because I just want
Do
you to
it.
see it.
That's awesome, man.
Let's see.
Did you end up setting up a mesh network, Jeff?
So it's interesting. I have an Eero mesh already,
Mhm.
and I had a lot of trouble getting the Slate router to talk to everything. It was supposed to be, flawless,
Mhm.
and I just couldn't get it to work. And so finally, I went out and got another. Got another Eero mesh thing and just put it in the yard. And so now I can just sit in my office and look at clouds. It's great. But it's pretty quick. I'm bin 2 right now, but the download speeds after just a couple seconds are pretty fast. So we'll see when that gets when I finally get some weather, I'll be able to sort of tinker with it some more. And I've got 2 ASIR units, one on the refractor and one on the edge, and I can kind of switch back and forth. And so I can sort of set up an imaging run on the refractor and then do EAA on the edge. So yeah, kind of best of both worlds.
That's awesome.
I got so few nights to be outside that I kind of wanted to double my pleasure, if you will. And so learning a lot of different things about the new mount. The SEM 70's been, it's worked pretty good out of the box. I have a lot of work to do on the guiding. And I know, Doug, you've had a bunch of issues with the SEM 70 that luckily I haven't had. My connections with the ASIR have been pretty flawless. Really, for me, it's just been the Wi-Fi. Other than that, we're sort of getting out of some -20 temperatures. It's finally starting to warm up a bit, heading towards spring. I guess as the galaxies are now starting to come around, I'll sort of switch roles and make probably make the edge my imaging thing and have the refractor be sort of a wide field EAA thing for me. So they'll sort of switch roles for the spring and summer.
Man, that's awesome.
And,
Sounds
and I'll
like
be
you-
I'm not working next weekend, so
good.
I'll be joining you guys even if it's just in a support role like last year.
That's great.
So we'll see.
You were very faithful last year. I remember that. All right. Well, it sounds like you made progress. That's awesome.
Yeah, lots of progress, and the Wi-Fi thing was a big win today. So when I get off call tomorrow, I'll probably have a whiskey in celebration.
All right. All right. Let's see. Is there anybody else West Coast? Remind me. Anybody else Mountain Time?
I'm West Coast, but it looks like Chris needs to go now if possible because the sun's going to be rising soon in this area.
What's that say again?
I said I'm on West Coast, but it looks like Chris is saying that he was asking if you could go next.
Oh, Chris, go ahead and go, man.
Okay, thank you. You're hearing me?
Yes.
Great. So yeah, good morning again from North Germany. So yeah, sun will rise in around about 1 hour. So and it's not cloudy. So to be honest, we had clouds since beginning of December, and last weekend or on last Friday it just cleared up, and so I could test finally my equipment, and you don't mind, I would like to share my screen so I
please.
can see I can show you something about my equipment.
It's so great to see you in person, Chris.
Yeah.
We've seen you on live streams, but oh wow, it's beautiful.
Okay, so here's where I came from. So this was my first EAA setup. It was an apoachromatic scope. So and there was a stick PC on the other side. You cannot see it at the moment. It's on an EQ6, and I did guiding with it and so on. So this was my equipment till I would say October last year. Then I sold everything, and this is now my new setup. It's still the EQ6. It is working totally at its limits. So the equipment is now around about nearly 20 kilograms. And this is really the maximum the EQ6 can handle, but it's fine for EAA. And that's the beautiful thing about EAA, I would say. You can still use mounts that are not supposed to work with that equipment for astrophotography, but it still works. So as you can see now, this is an Ritchie Schraetian RC 10-inch scope. It's brand new, so I just bought it in December. It is on the EQ6. It has an ASI 533 MC Pro camera. I have from Prima Luce Lab, from this Italian company, Motofocus. Beautiful thing. It's a Sesto sensor, I think, the name. And then Doug, that's because of you. I have now a Pegasus Astro advanced power box.
Nice.
I just saw it in your streams, and I was so curious, and I just bought it, and it's beautiful piece of hardware.
Good.
So then you see the light shroud here, and the PC is on the other side, but I will show you other pics from the other side. It's a Terra still mounted here, but I just throw it away. And I don't remember who told us before now also in that stream that no guiding scope. So I also don't have any guiding scope. I'm just purely working with plate solving. And so even if I would like to, I cannot add some more kilograms on the mount.
Yeah.
So this is another view on my scope. Now you can see the Pegasus Astro, the power box on the right side, the motor focuser, the camera, and on the left side, okay, you cannot see it from here. Maybe this picture, no, also not. By the way, this James Webb sticker, I bought it in Lithuania, I think.
Nice.
Beautiful. Okay, so maybe here, yeah. So on this view, you now can see the truss build of this RC. I think it's a very beautiful scope, very beautiful looking scope. And the power box on the left, and on the right side, you can see here the PC. And this PC is, as I described it in this article on Cloudy Nights, I think it's, the name of the article is Riding Alpaca, so I wrote it. And this is a very weak mini PC. It's Celeron N, I don't know, 3450 with only 1 gigahertz. But as I only run ASCOM remote server on it, and the Pegasus software, and what else? An EQ mod, just to remote work with the mount. I don't have the hand controller and the hand box anymore connected to it. That's the only software that runs on this mini PC, and then it's totally fine. Everything else is then running on one of my PCs. So normally I have an observation notebook. You can see it on this picture here in the kitchen through that window. So I was sitting there, and now I'm sitting in my office. This is my gaming PC equipment, and everything is connected to the home network via Wi-Fi on 5 gigahertz. So I have enough bandwidth and no issues with interference with 2.4 with the USB 3 cabling on the scope. So this is something that might cause really issues. So when you have your PC near to your USB 3 connection to your camera, it could happen that the Wi-Fi connection is really bad or not connecting at all. And so I switched everything to 5 gigahertz. And since then, everything works fine. So yeah, normally the EQ6 does not have the capabilities to mount any scopes with the Losmandy. But yeah, so this is also a nice piece of hardware from Prima Luce Lab from Italy. So now, after showing you the pictures, so this is the view, this is the remote desktop view to the mini PC on the scope. So you can see ASCOM remote server running here. All the drivers are loaded, and it's constantly transferring data like temperature of the camera, position of the mount, and then transferring from time to time a picture. So this is then when this stream here stucks for a second, and it transfers the picture, and I can load it from anywhere in my network. Here the EQ mod software, and what else? Yeah, Doug, you know it, the Pegasus Astro.
Yes.
Piece of software, so so it has this output for, I think, for DSLR cameras.
Yes.
But I reused it for the fans of the scope.
Nice.
So as you can see here, so no, you can not see it here. It's a little bit dark, but normally you can see that there are 3 fans mounted here on the back of the scope, just to give it enough air to cool down. And yeah, I also connected it to the Pegasus Astro power box. And what you can do here is you can adjust the voltage of this output. So when running on 12 volt, it's loud because then 3 of these mini fans are really doing a lot of noise. But when I turn it down to 8 or 5 volts, they're still running on 5 volts. They are just working in the background, not so noisy, less vibrations. So at the moment, it's still running on 8 volts because, as you can see, it's quite cold. It's -4 degrees Celsius. So this is, for you guys, so it's 25 at the moment.
Wow. What do you do for a living, Chris?
I'm an IT manager.
Okay, that makes sense.
For a big international company.
That makes sense.
Okay, so this is the remote part on the mini PC, and now this is Stellarium running locally on my PC. As you can see, it's connected via ASCOM, but it's an ASCOM remote connection. And I'm now on M81, and on SharpCap we can see it live now, what's going on there. So I have to say sorry, because yeah, I had to get up at 4 a.m. this morning.
Oh, wow.
I had to mount quickly everything outside. I'm totally out of focus. The mount is not very polar aligned, I would say. I couldn't take any darks. So you can see still some hot pixels wiggling around here. But yeah, that's a live view at the moment. M81 out of focus, as I said. But yeah, you can see what it could look like.
But your scope is doing a great job. How many minutes do you have on that so far? 12?
It's 12 now, yeah. But yeah, so this is an 10-inch f8, but now it's reduced to something like 5.9 or so, or maybe 6. And it's a 0.75 reducer on it. Yeah, so I just really, it's second light. Or third light maybe today.
Wow, you must be so happy.
Yeah, I am. So coming from that really tiny scope now to 10-inch is really making a difference.
Yes.
And also the camera. I mean, it was in 224 MC before, very low in resolution. I mean, it was a good. It's for EAA a very good camera, but now switching to a cooled camera with so now, as you can see it here, it's now. No, it's too warm, so I switched it. Maybe this is why I have so many hot pixels. So I forgot to cool it down. It's working now on -1 degree. Okay, it really makes a difference. So yeah. And I'm just happy, and I'm learning every time I go out and test and do further testing with my new equipment. I learn more, and but I'm happy with the results so far.
This is an interesting comparison. Between the two scopes, your scope has done so well with that image. It's just beautiful. My scope is not quite as tuned as yours. You have yours well collimated, don't you?
No.
Oh no.
So it's very hard to collimate an RC. So this might be complicated because it's because of these hyperbolic mirrors. It's it has to be collimated very, very well. Otherwise, you immediately have issues with not round stars,
right?
And so on. And you need some piece of special hardware, like it's not only a laser that you use with a Newtonian, but you also need these lasers that have these circles just to align the primary mirror. Yes. And I don't have this kind of laser, and so I just have to do it manually with my eyes and the camera. Just go far away from the scope, try to make a picture through the focuser when no camera is inserted, and just try to align every circle of the focus tube, primary mirror, secondary mirror, the mirror ring of the secondary mirror in the primary mirror, and just to have everything centered, and that's quite hard.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I was saying it's a fun comparison because I happen to be on M81 as well, but you are around, I believe, 15 minutes now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's 14 minutes now. 15 exactly.
And I'm at 9, but you have yours well. I think your sharp cap histogram is well adjusted, whatever you want to say, but.
Yeah, but there's some noise here before the color came in because I'm not using dark. So as soon as I'm doing dark extraction, subtraction, then this noise here disappears and everything goes far left.
Gotcha. Anybody got any questions for Chris? Well, your English is sure good, Chris. You've just studied in school and with your job, I guess, all your life, right?
Yeah, it's an international company, so I have to talk English nearly every day.
Yeah. Okay. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a beautiful scope. We're all admiring you. This is one of the first larger RCs I think we've had in our group, and so it's great to have you aboard.
And I will also try to join the marathon next weekend.
Good.
But weather says partially cloudy, so maybe I will be lucky.
Yeah. Ours in Louisville is saying really cloudy, so I might be in the same boat. Okay. Well, thanks for jumping in, Chris. Let's see, Jonathan, why don't you go ahead then?
Yeah, I don't want my scope out tonight. We were, pretty cloudy, not like heavy clouds, but like just a thin enough, but just thick enough to kind of make it hard to really see much of anything. So not a good night for imaging, unfortunately. I've only had it out a few times since Christmas, since the holidays. I mean, it's been between weather and then just work and just other things, just haven't had a chance to get it out. But I did get new to me, at least the IDAS MBZ filter.
Nice.
So I was able to try that out. I've only been able to unfortunately get it out the one night. But yeah, that's kind of my newest thing. The other thing I'm trying to do is, I think most of you know, I run a Nexstar SE with a 6 SE with Hyperstar and ASI Air Pro. And what I've been trying to actually do is start to work with, instead of the Hyperstar, the 6.3 focal reducer that I also have.
Yes.
Running into issues with that though, and just a lot of challenges with the mount, with getting star trails. Just takes forever for the mount to settle down after moving, and and slowing and stuff, to the point where things kind of end up out of field of view. And so, with the Hyperstar, with that wider field of view, I can usually get away with it without much of a problem with that scope, with that mount. But really struggling when I try to go to the 6.3 focal reducer. So debating whether I want to try to get a different mount or not, to try to deal with that. I think one of the beauties of EAA is the fact that I can just use the alt as simple as mount, and it's easy to get that set up to set it up and take it down and all that. So I'm not sure if I want to go there, but I don't know if anybody else has had that issue with the it's kind of the base
I've been
mount for
considering getting the Evo.
Have you?
Yeah, I know it's costly, but I like the built-in battery because I have a battery on this, and I usually I have pretty low, like I don't worry too much about shaking and things like that. I'm pretty easygoing with that stuff. But yeah, I think that if you want to do outdoors, that's a much better mount than these Next RSCs.
Yeah, I'm literally much more than, and sometimes I'll get frames I can get like 4 or 5 frames, and then I don't get anything for a little while. And that's even with pretty low exposures. I mean, like 5 seconds, 3 seconds, that kind of thing. I'm struggling, and it's like, I'm not expecting to get, minute-long exposures or anything like that, but it's kind of frustrating, like to the point where you get frustrated with it and you put it away and put the Hyperstar back on just so you can get some enjoyment and see some stuff in the sky.
Where are you at, Jonathan?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, or outside of Phoenix, kind of southeast.
Off the Hyperstar, what focal ratio are you at?
With the Hyperstar, I'm here at f2.
Right. No, when you take it off.
Oh, when I take it off, well, I've got. It's f10. It's a 6SE SCT scope. So, but I have a 6.3, f6.3 focal reducer. I'm actually getting, because I just use it with the diagonal, I'm getting a little bit closer to like I think it was getting more like a little bit faster than 6.3, more like 5.9, I think is about what.
You might consider looking into the stacking. Some guys do that. I don't have an SCT. I stick with Newtonians because to me it's just much easier. It's already at 4 and I'm done. But some guys stack focal reducers in a way where they can get close to it.
Yeah. I mean, the Hyperstar goes on the front of the scope, right? It's the f2.
Right.
It's basically replaces the secondary mirror. Whereas with the 6.3 is on the back of the mount. So
and you're seeing that shaking sensitivity more when it's when you're not using the Hyperstar, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, with the Hyperstar, I don't really notice. Like, I think it also probably helps a little bit. The Hyperstar front loads the weight of the scope a little bit. Which from what I've read on those mounts tends to help with the tracking a little bit on those. So I haven't had a chance to experiment yet with like trying to put some weights or something to the front of the mount because like I have it as far when I'm using a 6.3, I have it as far forward in the dovetail as I can get it, and it's still, I can tell it's still a little heavy to down, and so I think what happens is it just doesn't track as well. And so I just end up, I'm also I notice even issues sometimes tracking left to right as well a little bit, but I think has to do with the up down, and you're just, it's the stars going, whatever you're imaging is going at a curve, right? So you're getting a little bit of a stutter, so.
Yeah, that mechanical thing, you got to keep that. That's one of the other reasons I'm using the new, because everything's up front. I mean, the mirror's in the back, but the camera and all that stuff outweighs it. So I have a lot of, front weight and flexibility there. So with the 6-inch f4.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really all I have for tonight. I'm just trying to, I'll keep you guys posted as I struggle through it. Cause I really would I like galaxies. I think that's probably like what I like imaging the best and in viewing the best. And so it's like, I'd like to get that slightly smaller field of view. That the Hyperstar is great for, Andromeda. It's great for like some of the big nebulas and stuff. And it is, don't get me wrong, I'm having a lot of fun with that too. And that's one of the reasons I got the IDAS, NBZ filter, was to be able to view the, more of the nebulas and stuff like that. And so, I'm enjoying that too, but I want it during galaxy season to be able to get in a little bit closer with the hyperstar. Sometimes it's just, it's so, the field of view is so big that the galaxy just seems so small. It just, I don't know.
Jonathan, you've got an interesting background behind you. It looks like you're in a TV studio or something.
Oh, really? Well, it's just my credenza,
Okay.
some books and
Got
stuff
it.
like that on it. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, Jonathan, I hope you get clear skies this coming weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to join you guys for the marathon. It will be my first one of those, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how if I'll be able to participate the whole time, but definitely
Sure.
want to try to participate at least some. So.
We'll look forward to it.
But
Hey, who
Jonathan,
wants-
as soon as I play a little more with my AVX, I'm probably going to have an evolution and a wedge for sale. So
Okay.
if you're interested.
Oh, there you go.
I was going to ask you, Mike, if you sold the mount and the wedge along with the Star Sense.
Nope, just the Star Sense so far. Haven't touched it because I'm still going through the paces with the AVX, but
Right.
it's basically a brand new mount, so it's really nice shape, and I just got to do a little more testing with it, get a little more comfortable with it, and then I'll be comfortable enough to let the Evo and the wedge go.
Right.
Are
Do
you
you
going
have
to
the
sell
mount?
the
Do you have the
I was
mount
gonna-
on the same concrete cinder block here, or are you using it on the tripod?
No, in this case, actually, I'm using it on the tripod. I didn't realize with the AVXs, you get a 2-inch tripod with the AVX. I thought it was
Yeah.
a 1.5. And so it's a good heavy duty tripod for the weight class of the mount. So I've been using the tripod. I actually moved like I said, I've always said they're all the blocks are glued together, but they weren't glued to the pad. So I just got the hand truck out and it's now moved off to the side. And so now
Nice.
I put the tripod down instead.
This is going to be so great. You're going to be able to sell those concrete blocks with that wedge. I love it.
I may take the mount, but I'll pass on the concrete blocks. Thank you.
This is a collector's item, Jonathan. You don't want to pass up these concrete
This is
blocks.
world
I don't want
famous
to pay for the
across YouTube.
shipping.
Some-
By the way, Jonathan, did you post on Cloudy Nights about that issue?
I did. I probably need to put a new post out there on it. I had like in a previous post, like down the thread a little ways, I had brought it up, but I haven't really said, hey
make
guys,
your own
help me
thread.
out.
Maybe make your own thread. PM me if you do, because I'd like to share about this and why, I bought the mount and not the entire scope, right?
Mhm.
Those are things that I have to consider too, is that mount, people that they've tried, right, doing EAA over the years.
Mhm.
It would be ideal, and it has a really great range of like focal lengths, but for EAA, I mean, the F4, the 6-inch F4 Newtonian is really great. You could put a focal reducer, you could put a Barlow, and we have a little bit lower standards than the imaging guys. So
Right.
right, so and it works with this mount pretty well. I mean, I don't have the same kind of issues at F4, and when I put the reducer, I'm usually at F3. So those are the main focal lengths that I use.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't start off, EAA. I think a lot of, I started off with, I got the scope for Christmas, last Christmas, not the most recent one, but the year before. And then as I was, I got pretty bad light pollution here. I'm in a pretty major city, so it was like, how can I, view deep sky objects? And as I just peeled back the onion, it was like came across EAA, and I was like, that's a good fit for me. And Star Arizona just happens to be, a quick drive down the road from here. So, we were actually, my wife and I had gone down there for a getaway weekend and stopped in there, and I was like, I was kind of already leaning towards potentially doing the Hyperstar, and I went ahead and did it, and I've been happy with it. I think I would have gotten very, very frustrated if I'd started off with just trying to do the 6.3 with this particular mount. But that being said, I definitely, as I'm progressing here, I'm like going, okay, do I bite the bullet and get a different mount at this point? So,
Guys, Jonathan is the smartest one among us. He convinced his wife that they were going on an outing when he took her to a telescope store.
she bought me the scope too. Go figure.
Keep it
That's
down,
awesome.
Doug. She might overhear.
Oh, that's right. Oh, so sorry. That's right.
She's placated me for sure.
Oh, that's great. Hats off to her. Well, let's see
Yes,
who
definitely.
wants to go next, guys. Greg, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Good to see you guys tonight. Since the last time we got together, or last time I was on here, I've had a really good experience with an outreach with a class of fifth graders up in Oklahoma City.
Nice.
I'm in Norman, so astronomics is just a couple of miles away for me. So it doesn't need to be a weekend getaway with my wife or anything. But I had a great time. I took my C8 on the Evo mount and showed them Jupiter and the moon, and finished with M42, which was not that exciting, through an eyepiece in Bortle 8, almost 9, in a parking lot. It was just not that impressive. And so at that point, I then changed over to my little AT60 on an AZ GTI mount and started showing them the beauty and the magic of live stacking. And wow, they just got excited. Everybody just,
Oh,
and I had my 27-inch TV that I set up. So everybody can stand around and look at it, and I can just, explain to them what I'm doing, why it's changing, and just note the comparison. And initially, I just did a 4-second exposure and zoomed in to try and approximate what the C8 was showing through the eyepiece. They said, yeah, it looks about the same. Then I went ahead and started live stacking it, and that's when everybody was so impressed. So it was really great to just kind of transition from the same object to then go over to EAA and show them, go to some galaxies, go to some clusters, and show them a nebula in all its beautiful, colorful glory that they just simply couldn't see through the eyepiece. So that was a really good time. The rig that I'm running, I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen here in a second.
good.
This is actually an older picture. If I can get this to come up here, right? Can you guys see that? Is that showing up?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So that's the little AT60 running an ASI 533. I've since added a filter wheel just so I can change them out much more easily. And I'm running it at the native F6 currently. This is the AZ GTI mount, obviously, but right now I've got it out back with the Evolution mount on a wedge. That's worked real well for me also. And let me go ahead and get what's going on.
What's that white stuff on the ground?
Yeah, this is actually last year's snow. There's snow out there right now. We've had actually had an ice storm. It came down as sleet and then formed this amazing solid layer of ice. Looks like snow, but as slick as can be.
I'm holding out for frozen fog.
That could be interesting too. Let me see if I can get over to AnyDesk. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so I put this on M42 just before we started, so it's been running for 25 minutes. No filter except for a UV IR cut filter, I think is what I've got on it. Yeah. And just 4-second exposures at a gain of about 300. And it's looking into one of the worst spots of my sky as far as light pollution to the south. We've got a big car dealership and restaurants and a mall and all that stuff. It's about Bortle 8 almost, probably 7.9 if I actually measured it. As far as a map, it shows it's pretty close to 8. But that's pretty decent for being able to show this to people, show these to kids, and have them see something that they've just not seen before, at least in person. So everybody was really impressed when we got to do that. So it's quite a bit of fun. The other thing, just to follow up on what we discussed some last time, was I was looking at different power options, finding a way to stay powered in the field on, say, a 2-day camping trip. And I looked at some of the larger lithium batteries and what it would take to put it into a box and get a meter and get the inverter in there and the hardware and everything. And I ended up going with an all-in-one. It's an EcoFlow is the brand name. It's similar to the Jackery and the Bluetti and all those things. And it's a pretty nice little setup with a solar panel to be able to recharge it. So if I can get one night's worth out in the field with all the equipment going, including a monitor, and be able to show it to people that way, then I could go ahead and just recharge it the next day. It works great for camping too, which would be good. And just any kind of emergencies as well, because we have tornadoes here. So, and it's pretty common to go out, lose power, for thunderstorms and severe weather and take it into the shelter, or if we just lose power for days, which has happened before. So it seemed like it was a pretty good purchase. It's kind of pricey, but when you add everything up, if you're going to do it yourself, it's not that much more expensive. So it's given me a good option for being able to go out into, you say it, like I said, 2-day, 3-day camping trip. And,
Greg, may I ask which model you went with?
it's the EcoFlow River Pro.
The
It's
Pro?
a 720 watt hour. I
Nice.
think it puts out 13.6 volts.
Mhm.
It's a pretty nice little system. It's got 3 AC outs. It's got this amazing ability to charge at 600 watts if you're plugged into AC. So you can charge the thing back up to 80% in an hour and 100% in about an hour and a half.
Wow.
That's
It's
unheard of.
Costco
That's
link for you
It,
guys.
it is
No-
unheard of.
there's no jackery in the world that can do that. That's
No.
amazing.
That's awesome.
So if you're in a situation where I'm truly without powers, disaster type of thing, I can go someplace else and charge it quickly, and it doesn't take 8 hours. Obviously, with a solar panel, like a 110 watt solar panel that I have coming, that'll take most of the day.
Mhm.
But I still have a little other battery I can use just as a backup. But this will be a nice all-in-one unit that's very tidy, very small and compact, and compared to my 23-pound deep cycle battery, acid battery, lead acid, that's only like 35 amp hours what I've been using. And this thing weighs, I think, 17 pounds. And it's probably equivalent to about a 55 or 60 or so amp hour battery. So I think it's a pretty good solution. There are lots of ways of doing it. This just seemed like a good one to get it done and not have to dig into a big DIY project.
Mhm.
Really will be a great kit for camping.
Yeah. I think that, and once I told my wife about how, with all the potential for losing power, she realized, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We should be
Nice.
prepared, right?
Nice.
Just telling it was for me for camping was not a big selling point for her, but the other option made it seem like, okay, get this done. I'm tired of hearing you talk about it.
Guys, remember that line. Remember that line.
Yeah. All
It's
right.
awesome. That's a beautiful image too.
Thanks. It's been going for quite a while, but this works pretty well with this little system. I love the 533 camera.
Greg, can I ask about the turbo USB slider all the way to the left? I've never played with that setting, and I'm just wondering why you have yours cranked all the way down.
I don't use it at all.
Okay.
I don't even know what it does, to be totally honest with you.
Anyone know what that slider does? Because I've never touched it, and I don't know what different settings.
Yeah,
do.
I think I read it in the manual initially and realized it wasn't something applicable to me, and it just was defaulting all the way over.
Got it.
So not using it.
I've never used it.
Yeah, it's I believe it is for improved frame rates, like if you're doing planetary stuff, where you're doing a lot of FPS. So it's really for us EAAers, it really doesn't. When you're doing one sub of whatever.
Got it. I got it. So when you're flooding the buffers with too many frames per second, and it's saturating the USB 3 link. Got it.
Yeah. Hey, a couple quick things just to mention on the live stack. I don't know if you guys have seen. I'm not sure when it came along, but there's this Zoom feature. Have you seen that?
Absolutely.
It may be relatively new. It just allows it to make it a little bit more user friendly. And one other thing that I have done in the past, I'm kind of experimenting with it. I learned it from a friend, Benjamin Clouseau, who's over in France. He's the guy that's just north of Nice. And a lot of times he will set this live stack, the main histogram. He'll go on either side of it, and then he'll spend all of his time working with the display histogram. And I think maybe because it was just a little bit easier to work with in some ways, a little bit finer adjustment. So that's just another way to do it. A lot of times people don't touch the display histogram at all. I find that sometimes I'll get a little bit additional adjustment depending on what's going on. And you can also hold down the shift button and make your adjustment for fine tune adjustments. So if you hold down shift and drag it over a fair amount, that moved more than I expected to. Move it just a little bit. And you can do very fine adjustments that way. So that can be kind of handy as well.
No, I've been using the display histogram the past few months for that. I find it works really well for me.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not sure I'm seeing a real difference really as far as the end result, but sometimes it helps me get there a little more easily as far as making some of those adjustments. But that zoom option is quite nice as well. Oh, my battery is plugged in. My PC is plugged in. Interesting.
Uh-oh.
So much for that new unit I just bought. I better go check it out. maybe something came unplugged on the laptop. All right, I'll
Probably
stop
did.
there. Yeah,
Greg, that's great. Tell us one more time where you are.
I'm in Norman, Oklahoma, 15 miles south of Oklahoma City, home of
That's right.
astronomics and cloudy
That's
night.
right. Cool.
All right, I'll be right back.
Frank, you want to go next?
Sure. I mean, I'm stuck here in Permacloud, New York. I haven't had I haven't had gear out in quite a few. I even got it out there yesterday, and by the time I got set up and polar aligned and started grabbing, I don't even know what I targeted first, but it was already time to put it away because the clouds just rolled in and wouldn't stop. And then, of course, tonight, all day long, it looked like things were going to be the same. And then, lo and behold, around 10 o'clock or so, probably like around 8:30 or so, I was coming home from my daughter's softball practice, and crystal clear skies, and I just didn't have it in me to get everything out there and set up for this. I wish I had, because I'm looking out my window and it's absolutely pristine skies right now.
Wow.
But it's so darn cold out there.
Yeah.
In upstate New York, it's we're in the single digits again tonight. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. But I think a little bit like Jeff was saying, I've been dabbling into a little bit of AP work since I've got the Hyperstar and got the filter, and I've got a good camera, and I've got a good mount. I figured, you're out there for, taking high resolution images, and instead of just saving TIFFs or PNGs out of SharpCap, I've been saving them as FITS files and then doing some post-processing with some free tools, and then some tweaks and adjustments in Photoshop to get some really nice results after, certainly not what a true astrophotographer, where they're spending 6-7 hours per night and sometimes multiple nights targeting one object. I'm doing this, with a Hyperstar, so I'm gathering light at a fast, I'm only gathering about an hour's worth of data, and then, generating some pretty nice images, I think. I'll share my screen and show you a little bit of a portfolio.
I'll vouch for Frank. He's been busy, and
What's
the
that?
images are really nice.
Thanks, Jeff. Let's see if I can share my screen. Share. So this most recent one, I'll go, and this is the Bubble Nebula from a few nights ago. Can anybody see that?
Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And let's see, going in the other direction, Thor's helmet.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a
What
good one.
filter? What filter do you use on that one?
These are all with the IDAS MBZ.
Yeah.
It's the most, it's the best one to use when you've got a Hyperstar. It has the whole
A lot of hydrogen alpha and O3 on that one, I guess, is what I did. Yeah.
Right. I did a little bit of playing around with the rosette using the Hubble palette. So that's not true to, obviously not true colors that you see there, but again, playing around with astrophotography type tools.
And what are you post processing that with? You got the Hubble palette?
I'm using Cyril, which is a free. It's free. I'm not ready to take the deep dive into AstroPixel processor or Pixel Site.
Okay.
Not anywhere ready to make that jump. Obviously, Triangulum, the Rosette in True Color, Andromeda, the Dolphin. This one was a tough one. It doesn't get very high. Above the horizon. I've got trees right where it is, but that's and I don't remember how much total integration that is. That was a tough.
And that was the MBZ also.
Also with the MBZ. Yep.
Yeah,
I can't really use anything but the MBZ. If even like an Optolong L Pro won't work right. The shift, because of the fast focal ratio, doesn't really.
Well, there's hope for. I wanted to try and get the Dolphin at some point. So there's hope. That'd be interesting.
There's hope. Yep. There's M81 and M82. Andromeda with a starless background that's using.
Hey, Frank, can I derail you for like 2 seconds?
I think he's already derailed.
Oh, okay. He froze. It must be cold up there.
I've ran out of Messier targets to do right now. I've got nothing else in view.
Caldwell catalog.
What were you going to say, Jeff?
Well, I was going to talk to Frank about his Hyperstar. I've had all sorts of problems with mine, even with EAA, just having funny star shapes and can't really quite get it collimated. And I think I may have a corrector plate problem. So I was just curious on Frank's setup if he's. I don't think he's had to deal with that quite as much.
Remember that conversation about collimating the RC in Germany? You got to do the same thing, really. You stand back, you take off the secondary, and you stand back, and you have to get it where they're completely concentric first.
Right.
And supposedly you can do that if you point up at the zenith, and you use I think you take the files and you put them into like ASTAP, and it'll analyze them, and then you can play around
with that trapezoid.
Yeah, and so you can play around with that a little bit. I haven't done it. What I did on mine, screwed the damn thing down flat. To have because those push-pull screws, they're just not my favorite.
Every time I've talked to Dean at Starzona, he just says, just make everything flat. It should be fine for your telescope. And,
just screw them down.
In the center of the screen, it's okay. And then as soon as you get, a little bit out of the center, it's just terrible.
Mine's a little bit off, but just screw them down and start from there. Unless you have something that's really, 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 three of them that are the same, the same width, 30 thousandths, 40 thousandths, and then tighten it down on that. You need it flat.
Yeah.
Flat, flat, flat. But it'll work. It'll work. You just got to get it flat.
Yeah, I've always just run mine flat.
Yeah, I just tightened it down. I gave up, just tightened it down. I do have a laser cutter, and so I've cut out button off masks. I have a tri mask that I haven't tried yet because I seem to hate taking off my dew shield. That's kind of my thing. I like to cover up my Hyperstar, but yeah, just tighten all the screws down, put it flat to start out with. That's probably the safest thing to do.
Boy, we did lose Frank during his big, production when he was showing us all of his beautiful pictures.
I think that was the EAA gods. For someone talking about astrophotography on an EAA forum.
word.
That's awesome. I love it.
I've bagged 17 Messier objects while we've been talking.
That's great, man. That's what we need for this coming weekend.
I mean, really, I don't know about you, Doug, but 30 seconds and I got it.
I know. For Messier Marathon, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if I can plate solve it and get a thing around it, I can throw it in ASTAP and prove what I'm looking at, right?
Exactly.
I'm just happy to be getting him inside my office at this point. It's so nice.
Well, we'll come back to Frank if he comes back on. Let's see. Michael, we haven't heard from you. You're over in Spain. Are you able to speak to us?
Yeah, I can speak to you. I can't show you any screens. I'm talking through my mobile, and I'm trying to view you guys on the LG TV that's in this apartment we're staying at in the Dolomites. So,
wow.
It has beautiful views, frustratingly clear skies, but I have no telescope with me.
Oh, that's so sad.
And it's 100% cloud back in Spain. So, that's life for you.
Makes me want to hop on my bicycle.
But no, just an update on what I've been doing. So I have a 14-inch go-to Dobson, a Skywatcher, that I bought as my first telescope. Bought it used on UK Astro buy sell from some Brit down in Benidorm who had it on the 10th floor of an apartment there, with bright lights and everything. So really big scope and a lot of fun. And I was told this is only a visual scope and you can't do astrophotography or anything like EAA with it, but I've had the opposite experience. It's fantastic. Yeah, and, like Frank, I've been dabbling also in some AP. Let's hope I don't freeze when I say that, but I'm not going to talk about that. But no, I've set it up. I have the big jump forward was putting on a good astro camera. So I started out trying to use an old Canon DSLR. And then in March last year, almost exactly a year ago, I bought, no, it was April, sorry, a ASCII 294 MC Pro. I went all in. And that was just a huge game changer. That coupled with the big mirror, I routinely just do, 4-second exposures at 400 gain, and I can just capture most anything. And then the most recent step up was you guys have been using the NDAS filters, the IDAS filters, MBZs. I was looking at those, but they only have them in 2-inch, and I didn't want to spend that money. So I bought the Extreme 1.25-inch, and that is amazing. I've been able to just in a few frames see the Tadpole Nebula, the Wizard, Rosette Nebula, if I really close up. And just for Nebula, it's just absolutely fantastic for me.
Nice.
It really costs, and with the 1.25-inch, very, very cost effective. I have the other big investment I made a few months ago to try and do log integrations was I bought the Pegasus derotator, the Falcon derotator. So now, because obviously it's an Alt-AZ mount, it's a Dobson mount, and that works beautifully. It was especially problematic, obviously looking towards the north or south if I'm trying to do, 30-minute integrations. Field rotation was a big issue, but the Falcon derotator just has amazing software in it. It's linked via ASCOM to the rest of my system. And so it knows the Alt-AZ coordinates, and it will compensate for exactly the right amount of field rotation to keep the image square. It just works fantastically. And then I have the whole setup. So I have the camera, I have the derotator. The other thing I've been working on is is autofocus. So quite a while ago, I bought the Focus Skywatcher Focus motor. They call it an autofocus. It's not. It's just the Focus motor. And then I bought the remote control unit for that from the guy in Russia or Ukraine or wherever he is. There we are. So we've mentioned that. And that I can run via ASCOM, also via my PC. So remote focusing. So that was very nice. And then the latest thing, testing in SharpCap, is using the autofocus routine. And that bar a bug in SharpCap that I've been working on with Robin works really nicely. Also tested it in Nina. So and Nina is another piece of software I've been playing around with because it's nice for setting up sequences of shots automatically in Nina. But anyway, so the bottom line now, with this supposed monster of a 14-inch Dobson scope, I have it completely remote via a USB Ethernet connection, running the autofocus, the rotator, and the camera through a Cat 7 cable. I have no problem with the bandwidth on that cable. So just really happy with squeezing the most out of this big old Dobson scope. Shame I can't show anything tonight, but I think you guys have seen some of the images previously.
Yes.
But but yeah, and as I say, the L extreme for me just works beautifully. You know,
Super.
after a couple of minutes on the Tadpole Nebula, you got it. As I said, I've been having, just like Frank, some fun with AP. I use Star Tools exclusively, no Photoshop. I take the FITS file after anything from 5, 10, sometimes 40 minutes, which is a raw linear file. And I open that up in Star Tools, which only costs about 30 euros for the full license. And it's a deceptively powerful AP processing tool. I think rivals, from what I've seen, you can do with at least the processing part of PixInsight, and a hell of a lot cheaper and a lot more intuitive. You don't need a tutorial for it.
Cool.
So really recommend anyone trying to do what Frank's been talking about is using the FITS files. Works
And
great
what's
for
that
Star
called?
Tools.
And what is that?
Star Tools. Star Tools.
I think I've heard of that.
STARTOOLS. And the author, what's his name? Iva, is extremely friendly, and you can contact him directly and he'll talk you through it. He did a test processing of me of the Eagle Nebula M16 when I first started out, and showed me a few things. But meanwhile, I've learned a lot more tricks myself from it. And again, it's not a question of imaging for 96 hours, to produce a single image. I mean, I'm imaging for anywhere from 5 to 40 minutes max, and get great images now. And with the L Extreme filter, for example, I did the Monkey Head Nebula, something like 10 minutes. And on Astrobin, I seriously, I couldn't find anything that was significantly better on it for much longer integrations.
Nice.
There's some sibling rivalry story here. My brother in the UK has been at AP for quite a long time, and his explanation was, my skies are better than I think they are. It's the skies. But I'm Portal 5 to 7, depending where I point in Spain normally. And but you put the L Extreme filter on, and all of a sudden it's black or it's nebula. It's incredible.
Nice.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah. So very happy with the system at the moment.
Very cool.
So that's the story, guys.
And you're in the
no
Dolomites.
pictures.
Remind us bring us up to date exactly which part of what country. Would it be the north?
That's northern Italy. It's the southern
Italy.
part of the Alps. It's in what's called Südtirol, which was originally part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
I bet it's
former
beautiful.
to the. It's absolutely beautiful. I have a really nice southern view. It's just getting light now. Actually, yeah, let's start the video. Here we go. Not sure. I've got the background thing on, so you can't see that. Oh well, sorry.
Very cool. Well, Frank, you're back. Kind of connect again to where you were when you were using the A word.
Oh, I was pretty much done. I was coming to the end of my little portfolio that I've put together of the images that I've processed. I know these are not things that I would ever post on cloudy nights because of the stipulations that they have on EAA, obviously, and they're not EAA. They have been totally tweaked and processed, both in terms of I'm not capturing individual images and using a stacking tool. I'm just taking the one FITS file that has all of the calibrations and that SharpCap is able to output as a final FITS file, and then taking that one FITS file and adjusting it in Cyril, and then post-processing it through Photoshop and Lightroom, and getting what I think are, certainly not going to win an APOD, but good enough for me.
Good.
But Frank, we're just talking about that. I've been doing something very similar. I take the FITS files as well, And the good thing about those is they are linear. They're not.
Right.
I mean, they have the calibrations subtracted.
Yes.
But then, as you said, I mean, you can put them in any processing software and stretch them and do what you want there.
Right.
And I was just saying to the others, but when you were offline, I've been using Star Tools. I don't know if you tried that. It's only about 30 euros for the full license.
Yeah,
And
I'm looking at their website now. It's I think this may have crossed my plate at some point. I noticed that they do offer a trial. The trial will work as I believe
Right.
indefinitely. You just can't save your work until you
But
buy
even
it.
but it's only 30 euros for
Right.
a license.
Yeah.
So it's not like 200 like PixInsight or whatever that is.
Right.
But I really recommend it. It looks simple, but once you really get into the finer points of it, you realize because there's like 8 or 10 modules, but each module has numerous parameters. So once you get into fine tuning those modules and those parameters, it's amazing what you can do.
Cool.
Well, I have to throw out one more option. I've been taking some of my live stacks to save as viewed shots, and I run them through something called Topaz Denoise AI, which maybe some of you guys are familiar with. And it just basically cleans it up very nicely. And it does a little bit of sharpening. So there's a little bit of this creating some data that may not originally be there. But from what I'm looking at, it works quite well. I can show you something really fast here. Do a little share screen as well. This was just done here at my house.
Wow.
And with that little AT60, and I think it was 2100 seconds. So it wasn't that long of an integration, but it just does a beautiful job of cleaning up and making that background just pop.
That's beautiful.
And this also is with the LX Stream filter, which I highly, highly recommend, thoroughly enjoy.
Unless you're at F2.
What's that?
Unless you're at F2. I heard the mixed things on that one, whether it was a bad batch or who knows. And
Really?
what's the program you use to
Topaz is the company. It's called Denoise AI, and you can adjust. There are like several different approaches to it. You can just put all 4 of them side by side and pick the one that looks best compared to the original, and you can adjust everything. You can take out the sharpening and just do the denoising. So it's minimally processed. Obviously, this doesn't get posted to Cloudy Nights as well, but it's this is 90% of what I see on my screen. It just looks a little bit cleaner.
Right.
So just another option.
Just a reference there that was made to the problems with LX Stream and F2. That's right. If you remember Thomas, what's his name? Gave a presentation.
Yes.
And
Jim.
Jim, yeah,
Jim.
it depends on the angle, on the F, obviously. And I think the limit for the LX Stream is somewhere around F3. Beyond that, you get those sort of refraction problems. So in my case, I'm at 4.5, so I'm well clear of that. And the other thing with the LX Stream as well, there are problems with back reflection and halos.
Yes.
So the trick I've found is I just have it sitting right on top of the sensor, as screwed down as close as I can get, and that way I don't have any problems there.
Cool. Well, Don, I know you said to skip over that you were just listening, but you've chipped in a couple of times. I see here to the chat panel. So we'd still love to give you a chance if you would like to bring us up to date on anything you've been working on.
Can I just jump in quickly?
Oh, yes, please.
I want to show you something. That's Venus.
Oh, beautiful.
I'll be able to look at that in about 12 hours. Thank you.
Very nice.
We have a beautiful sunrise at the morning, so the sun is not up yet, but it's beautiful orange east sky at the moment. And I just saw Venus, and there he is.
Remind us of your focal length again.
It's now 1.7-ish meter.
Well, I was wondering your focal length of your scope. Is it 1200?
Yeah, it's
1700 millimeters.
Yeah, it's 1700 millimeter at the moment. So normally it's an f8 at 2000, but with these,
Wow.
I'm using a .75 reduce
Yeah.
at the moment, 0.75.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's really Venus because that might be the phase at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Und
it looks good.
wo wohnen Sie?
Deutschland, Norddeutschland.
No.
So I'm living like 30
Like West
kilometers
area?
south of Hamburg, North
Oh,
Germany.
okay.
So we have a
Yeah.
bottle 3, bottle 5,
Okay.
bottle 3, bottle 4 sky here.
Yeah. Nice.
It's great.
Okay, just wanted to show
Super.
you the Venus.
So Don,
Yeah.
anything you want to ask or say?
No, unfortunately, I'm in the mountains and I get weather probably a bit similar to what Jeff gets, and it's been either cloudy or clear and windy. It's been a rough winter, and tonight is kind of more of the same. It's cloudy, and it looks like it's going to be cloudy for another week.
You in
So-
Colorado?
I'm in Colorado. Yeah, we've had a few nice nights, but the wind has been incredibly unpredictable. There have been some nights where I wished I had set up, and then 10 o'clock comes around, and all of a sudden the wind comes up, and I've already had my rig blown over once this year. So
Oh, wow.
I'm a little gun shy at the moment. So it's been a dry it's been a dry winter for anything related to gathering photons.
Wow. So sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah. But glad you're with us. Glad you're with us tonight.
Yeah, I was hoping to be in position to do some stuff next weekend, but I was looking, and at least a week out, it's not looking too promising.
Yeah, same here. All right, let's see. Did that catch everybody so far? All right, let's make sure that we've kind of finalized our workflow, whether we do it this weekend or whether it ends up being the weekend in April, our fallback weekend.
Hey,
Well, let's
Doug,
make-
can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, please.
So almost everybody on this chat is indoors in their office.
Yep.
And several people are imaging. And Doug, I know you use the Waze camera. to
I did.
watch your
I don't
telescope.
even-
Now, I've had
I
a couple
don't
of
anymore.
nervous moments here where I hit slew
Uh-huh.
and I just have no idea what my scope is doing. So I was wondering about taking a poll to see
The
what
Waze
you
works
guys do to
well.
watch your stuff.
I was using the Wise 3, but it kept dropping out because I'm at about 200 feet, and it was also dropping out more at 17 degrees and colder. So I've switched now to a different camera. It's not the Wise 3 anymore, but it is a USB, and you want to operate wirelessly, don't you?
Yeah, I have a router at my rig. So
Yeah.
if it can tie into my router somehow, that
Oh.
would be good.
Okay.
And then the router is
Um,
tied into my mesh.
Gotcha.
I've just been using my planetary camera, my 224. The ASCII 224. I put the lens on it that comes with it, and it's about 20 feet from the rig and connected with a USB, and that works nicely.
Yeah, mine unfortunately is in my front driveway and it's sheltered by my house. And so I just poke my head out the door.
Jeff, I've had good luck with the Wise.
If
Okay.
I have to meridian flip
Yeah.
it, no big deal.
I've got it in a remote, a detached garage up on the second floor pointing down, but the only problem is I get reflections off of the windows at night, so I've got to do something about that.
Well, I want
All
to
right,
try
thanks.
to look up that camera that I've been using in case you're interested. It's a USB camera, and I was trying to remember the exact name. I was looking on Amazon here. Wow, that's no longer looking at my orders, is it? I think it's called SGP, if I remember right. SGP sounds right.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, to me, it's working better because it doesn't drop,
It would just
I'll
be
get-
nice to cancel a go-to order if the mount looked like it was headed towards the dirt.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if I can.
What's the fun in that?
I think I put it in my signature. SV Pro. Here it is. SV Pro mini camera.
Okay.
It's 1080. It's 1080p, so it is high def. And I think it's much more dependable at colder temperatures, and it's also wired, so you could plug it into your router. I like it better than but it's more expensive. I think it might be 60 or so, and the Wise is 30. You can't
35.
beat the price. 35. All right. Well, let's make sure that we've got a couple of our workflow things down so we can kind of decide this together. Let's see.
Hey, Doug,
Yes.
I'm not going to be able to join you guys next weekend. I
Okay.
have to be up early on Sunday morning, so
Sure.
I just want to participate and say hi. So I'm going to go ahead and bow out.
All right. Well,
Good to
thanks
see
for
you.
being here. Appreciate you being here, brother.
I have a question real quick. Doug.
Yes.
Does anyone have a suggestion for the most likely place to go for clear skies in the, Southwest? Anyone thought of that? Like, because I know
Utah.
You like to move or to like visit for next
No,
weekend?
just for the weekend for where the weather is expected to be clear. Because here it's like kind of like partly cloudy.
Orbit.
What was that?
Orbit.
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 Unless the Russians try and deorbit the space station, who knows?
Oh my, let's hope that
I was
that doesn't
thinking
happen.
like, I might be able to take a weekend trip to like, Nevada or Arizona or something if I need
Yeah,
to.
I've heard where they do the Burning Man. It's pretty dark.
Oh yeah, I'm not thinking dark skies. I'm just wondering about the weather forecast for the different
Wow.
areas.
That's a great question. Mike, you live down there. What would you say?
Joshua Tree.
Well, out here in this area of the desert, I'm about 80 miles due west of Vegas, in the very eastern California deserts. And, out here in this desert part of the world, you do get a lot fewer clouds, although clearly I was supposed to get clouds tonight. So you do get less clouds, but with the big open spaces also comes a lot more wind. So, it really depends. It's right now, our forecast out here for next weekend is looking like we're going to be warm here through the weekend and at least into middle next week. They're talking 85 degrees up here, middle next week. And then I think Thursday or Friday, we got a cold front moving through, and it's going to be significantly colder over the weekend. So we could have some northerly winds over the weekend that will, it doesn't matter how dark your skies are because your whole rig's going to be shaken. So, there's a lot of dark sky areas, and I'd say come out here to Tacoma and soak in the hot springs and do some astronomy. But right now it's looking like we may have some cold, windy days next weekend.
We're not much help, brother. Sorry.
That's all right.
I mean, I'm looking at the weather underground right now for Phoenix, and we're showing clear skies next weekend. But,
There you go.
I mean, I don't know.
Phoenix
Winds usually aren't too bad down here when you get down to the Phoenix area or even outside of it. I mean, definitely got the light pollution in Phoenix itself, but there's some relatively dark sky areas within an hour and a half or so. I mean, you get some really dark sky areas actually if you go up to like the Flagstaff area.
Yeah, or just or not go all the way to Phoenix. Take 10 out and stop at like Quartzsite.
Yeah,
A couple hours west. It's and you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I spent a couple of winters in Quartzsite when I was in an RV, and it's nice. You get a little bit of a light dome on the east from Phoenix, which is about 120 miles east. But it's pretty dark out there, so you can try that, and it's warm.
I've never been out there, but there's a site they call it Antennas. It's out there on the west side of along I-10 there. It's between Quartzsite and Phoenix. I think it's more like 60 or 80 miles outside of there. I'm I've not been out there yet, but I know there's a lot of astronomy clubs on the West Valley, at least, that go out there, and it's supposed to be a pretty good site.
I spent some time on the other side of the river from Quartzsite, unfortunately, and it does get dark.
You went over in Blythe?
I worked at when they were building the prison, and then I worked at the weather station when I got my pilot's license out there. I was an airport bum for a little bit, but yeah, I remember taking trips down the north end of the runway in the middle of the night, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and boy, it's dark out there.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's kind of talk this through. I guess all of us are going to need to, first of all, see our data sheet here that we're using. I guess, shall I share my screen? Is that the best idea? Let's see. So I'm going to
What's that program again, Doug?
It's called Notion. So is everybody already in Notion? Let's see. I can see up here, it tells who is.
No, not yet.
Not yet. So that's Chris, right, Chris?
Yes.
All right. So I'll get you added. I guess we don't want to have you say let's don't have you say your name over the the Zoom, since we're going to put this on as a live stream. But immediately after this is over, Chris, I'll get you added. Is everybody else in Notion?
Hey, Doug,
No.
how do I sign up for that? You know, I don't think I just realized I'm not signed up for the marathon. Where do I go to do that?
Okay. In that thread is the Zoom link. If you go to the
The
thread.
same one for the February meeting?
Yes,
or?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, how do we sign up for this Notion thing and get on there? Because I'm not familiar with that at all. If you want to give a brief background on that.
Could you
Sure.
put the link in the chat, maybe?
Now it says you're already in.
Who's they?
Oh, I thought this was it's Mike, isn't it? That's Mike speaking.
Yeah, this is Mike in Spain.
Yes. Okay.
Mike Huerto. And I don't
So-
think I'm in that, and I've never even. It's the web-based program, I assume. then?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got to
Yeah.
add Chris, Jonathan, and Mike. Anybody else?
I think I'm already signed up, Doug. Is that right?
Yep, I think you are.
I don't know that I'm in
So-
there.
Am I signed up?
Don.
It's Curtis.
Curtis. Okay, so we'll get you Curtis. And who is the other?
Don, I don't think I'm in there.
Don. Okay.
Famous last words, I'm in.
Okay. Good.
So the information on that is in the link for the Messier Marathon. Then is that right? link
The
for that?
information on this Notion page, because we didn't want to publish this at large,
Yeah.
I'm just adding you custom, because we didn't want somebody coming in and making a mistake and accidentally messing
Get it.
everything up. So I've got those 6 guys or 5 guys: Chris, Jonathan, Mike, Curtis, and Don. We'll add here in a second. But I think the first step will be to look in here. We've been practicing on this, so you can see, like right now, this is in the order that it should appear. It's in marathon order instead of in Messier order. So in the
Doug,
order
can you
that
maybe
it's-
change your screen, because you're showing now your whole screen with the OBS?
Yeah, it's very small.
Okay, so you'd like for it to be a little larger. I'm
Yeah,
happy to
just-
do that.
Yeah, zoom
Just
into the
switch.
just the Notion page.
Or switch
Right.
to the virtual
Yeah.
camera.
Okay, I'll do it. So I'm going to go down here and stop share.
And I think
Yeah,
we
can you
also-
send us
Yeah, go ahead.
the newbies the link to the Notion site? I guess we have to sign up for that, do we? First?
Yeah, it has to be invited one email address at a time.
so you'll do that.
I'll
Okay,
actually have to
okay.
go and look up your email addresses and then send those custom links one at a time.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to share the screen only to the Notion. Oh, and I'm also going to stop using the, I'm going to switch cameras over to maybe the normal, this. And
Is that your younger brother?
Ooh, burn.
why is that? Oh, I know why it's not.
You,
Because
you,
it's,
you switched in OBS and not in Zoom.
Yeah, it's tied up. It's tied up because of the fact that it's being used by OBS. So I'm going to share just this and see how that works. Does that make it bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So our workflow would be, we'll look in here and we'll look at some of these pictures and we'll say, okay, that one's acceptable. So I can skip down. Now, if you see a picture that's really bad quality, you might want to do another picture, but for the most part, we'll want to go to the first blank. And so let's see, M35 is missing. So the next thing I do is I would bring up my planetarium software and let's see, I'm going to have to stop sharing on that, huh? If I'm going to do one at a time. So I'll have to see, the next thing would be
How do
to
we
bring it-
avoid having multiple people going after the same target?
You won't. You're going.
Well,
As
the
a matter
good
of fact,
news
I think we're encouraging there to be multiple
exactly.
images of each
The-
target.
The other good news is we'll be on a Zoom like this and talking to one another out loud. So if we hear that 6 of us are going after the same target, we can always mitigate that by saying, okay, well then I'll go to the next one, you know.
And last year we had some assignments, but we had much fewer people.
That's right.
Yes.
Like here's M35. So I would just slew to M35 and center to it, you know, and I'm going to show info on it. So that's going to take my telescope over to M35. Okay, so there I am there. And then now I'll share the sharp cap screen. And I want to make sure I get the sharp cap that has the 2600. So here we go. So I'm going to change my name to M35 here. I'm going to back off to some kind of appropriate, you know, percentage of the screen. So I'm getting the whole cluster. And then once I get to an appropriate, then I don't have to live stack this. See, I can just do the snapshot.
Yep.
And now we have the question of how will it be named? And the name that we have to decide right now, what is going to be our syntax for the name? Right now, we had talked about using M and then the number, like M35. And let's go up here under file settings and let's go to file names and let's go to what is it?
Live stack processed.
Live stack processed. Okay, so target name. Let's do, what would you guys think about?
You have to have something that works universally for the guys that use ASI airs too.
Oh, so somebody like Jeff, talk to us about ASI Air. What can you guys do?
I mean, remember, anytime you save a file, I mean, it can always be renamed in Windows to match whatever format we agree upon. So it doesn't,
Right.
you know.
I was just thinking if we could go ahead and do it in one fell swoop, it would be that much less that somebody would have to go work on.
Right. I guess I don't know enough about the ASI Air ecosystem and how those files get named when you do a.
Jeff, talk to us about what you guys.
So I think I can go in and adjust a couple settings. It's usually like target name,
yes,
gain setting, temperature, exposure length, things like that. And you can, it's kind of all one big file name.
Target name.
What sort of metadata do we really want to preserve?
We would like to preserve at least the total exposure and the number of frames. And I guess we might as well put the date and I don't know if we want to put the time in the file name. That's getting to be a very long file name, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
I mean, the date seems pretty important, doesn't it?
Mhm. Mm.
And then a name, like, I guess since there are multiple people with first names, we should put first, last. So what would you think if you can configure it? What would you think about target name, total exposure, like in minutes, like 7M, and then how many frames, and then date, and then name? What would you guys think about that?
And while you're thinking about the name, also think of the file type. Do we want you want different file types showing up in the Notion spreadsheet, meaning TIFFs, PNGs, JPEGs?
Wow, great
Um,
question.
I don't know what other tools save the files off as by default.
Oh,
I don't want fits though. You want something that's already,
You want something that's a graphic image, a PNG,
Yeah.
JPEG, TIFF, one of those.
so typically, I mean, on the ASI too, like Jeff, I don't know. When you save a photo, it usually saves it to your photos, like your iPhotos.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
it
in
saves
order
a
to
FITS
grab it
file
off of the ASI,
and a
you
regular
have to,
JPEG.
huh?
It saves a FITS file and a
And a
JPEG.
regular JPEG, right?
Okay.
Okay, so once I've saved that, then I'll go back to the Notion page, and I'll go to the M35 line, and I'll click and say choose file. And then I'll go to my folder where I saved that. And you guys probably can't see this where I'm picking it, but you can just imagine I'm basically in a file picker window. Does it let you
I
see
can
that?
see it.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm going to go to M35 where I just saved this. And let's see, which one is for tonight? M35.
And maybe the file type isn't that big of a deal. If everybody's saving in one of those three graphic formats, they can all be standardized after the fact.
Right.
Using some pretty simple, utilities, we can standardize them all on one particular form. I don't even know if SEDS is that particular about.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, they're
Probably
not.
An
No.
image is an image.
Now I'm going to change and put my name here that I've, and then I'm going to check this checkbox. I'm going to say no problem or whatever, and that one's done. So that's really the workflow as far as I know. Do you guys know of other things?
And will you clear this list Saturday morning or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Doug,
Doug,
are you able to publish multiple?
Screenshot of the settings of the file, the way you would like us to save it in SharpCap?
That's what we talked about. The target, I put in the chat panel, target name, total exposure, how many stacked frames, date, but you wouldn't need the time, and then the name.
Okay, got it.
See if that works for you. I don't
What
think,
if multiple folks image the same object or capture the same object, can you post multiple
yes.
images?
It
Like,
looks like it.
Look up here
Yeah.
under Andromeda Galaxy. See?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on with that one. So, yep. Okay.
so Doug, as everybody's putting these up there and we're going, hey, can somebody grab such and such? Is somebody going to have the responsibility for kind of sweeping through the list and saying, hey, this doesn't look good? Can we get somebody to get another one? Is that going to be you or how's that going to work?
I
It
would
could be
think-
somebody who's not imaging like me.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay,
idea.
good.
That's a good idea.
Just checking. Because we need
That's kind of
somebody
what I
that-
did last time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. We need somebody. I mean, you just try to, sometimes I don't have a good feeling for, I don't think I'm going to have to image for very long with a Hyperstar, but
No.
who knows? I'm going to err on the side of, yeah, I recognize it. Certain things, like I have a problem with M33 sometimes. It just doesn't want to resolve the spirals very well, but
how about if you guys are not in Notion yet, you 5 guys, just send me a direct message in Zoom so it doesn't show up. And I've stopped sharing my screen so it won't reveal your email address on the stream.
What do you
So
want, Doug?
You could direct in Zoom in the chat panel, change everyone
Yeah, down at the
and
bottom.
make the drop down, just put it on my name and I'll add you to
Notion.
Notion while I'm here thinking about this.
If you're not already in there, I'm already in there. So
So here, Doug. Okay, I'll try and do that now.
Jonathan
Doug.
Betts.
So you want our email address, you say,
Right,
sent
right.
direct to you, yeah? Yeah, I'll do
Jonathan
that right
Betts. So Jonathan, I'm getting ready to do yours.
Sounds good.
And
now. Just typing mine in right now.
okay, there's
Just email,
Jonathan.
not bank account information or anything, right?
we don't need that. That's funny.
Okay, you've got it.
if you guys want to send me money on Venmo, I'll give you the
Yeah.
So this is the danger with PayPal. You can just send it with an email, you know?
And here's
Bitcoin's
Curtis.
worthless, so if you could send your Bitcoin to me, I'll keep it for you.
I'll give you all the Bitcoin I own. How's that sound?
Yeah, there you go.
There's Curtis.
All my money goes into telescopes.
And here comes Michael.
You can put me as Mike Cueto if you want there, and the Notion list or something. That's my.
I think it'll let
Cloudy
you
Nights.
assign the name.
Okay.
Hey, Doug, I have a question real quick while
Yes.
we're doing this, if,
Yes.
if I'm not interrupting too much.
No, go ahead.
Some people have asked, some friends of mine have asked, hey, is this going to be live streamed on YouTube or somewhere where they can just go witness part of it?
Yes.
Or do we have a URL for that, or when is that going to?
Yes, it will be live streamed. They could get it. How about if we make it they could see it being live streamed at emeraldhillskies.com or go to the YouTube channel. Let me type the YouTube channel in
Okay.
here.
Yeah. Your Emerald Hills one?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll type the YouTube. It would be youtube.com/the Emerald Hills.
And naturally, I have subscribed to that, so.
Oh, good. That's the YouTube channel where it'll be live streamed, but they could get it from emeraldhillskies.com, and I think they could see it there as well.
Okay, good.
Okay, I think that adds everybody. Tell me, did everybody get that email?
That
I
link
got
for-
it, but I use my work computer usually and it's blocking it. So I'm trying to get in through my iPad. See if that
Okay.
works.
That link you put for Emerald Hills on YouTube gave me the YouTube equivalent of a 404.
youtube.com/the Emerald.
Oh, I missed the S, sorry.
Oh,
didn't-
okay.
My bad.
No problem.
Oh,
Okay, I also sent you my email directly.
Oh, didn't see it. Let me go blank again here. Try again there. Oh, yeah, I see it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
One, two, three, 24. I got 26 of them. And doubles. Hey, how are we handling doubles? Triples?
What do you mean doubles?
M31, it's a 3-fer for me. And
Oh.
M81's a 2-fer.
If you get everything, you can just please post it in all 3 places, I guess.
Okay. M97, M08, 2-fer.
Yeah. The other thing a person could do is if it is very small in that big frame, you could use a screenshot program to just screenshot that region.
Snag it.
Yep,
Yeah.
snag it.
And just save it and name it and we're okay.
Yep, that's
So,
right. Same syntax.
Sounds good.
Oh, good, Jonathan, you got it. Okay, guys, as far as I know, that's all there is to it. I mean, we just need clear skies and
What time is the
And-
start, Doug?
we will start at 5:30 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday morning to let the guys from Australia start at 9 p.m. Australian time.
So to clarify, 2:30 Pacific time, which is 10:30 UTC, I can start bagging objects,
Yes.
right?
Well, now you could, I think the way they work it is it has to all be within the same night. So by definition, you would want to wait till it comes your nightfall on your Saturday night. See,
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
will be starting at about 7 o'clock, which I'll be starting at about 1 p.m. Eastern time, for
Correct.
example,
yes,
Right.
Okay, so we cannot,
Saturday.
so I can't start at 2:30 AM on
technically,
Saturday.
technically not.
Okay, I just
So
wanted to
the-
make sure.
The
Right.
Australia guys will start at 5:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's 9 p.m. their time. And then it'll run essentially 26 hours or so. If
Okay.
we have clear skies on the West Coast. If we have really cloudy skies on the West Coast, there's no reason to keep running it, is it? Is there? No.
Yeah, I don't bother checking the weather a week ahead of time right now, so. Yeah.
Jonathan's asking, is it a team marathon? And it is. We're doing it as a team, but if you want to do it as an individual, you can also do that along with us and just put all your pictures in that you bag, and that'll work great as well. Then you would be in the SEDS list as an individual and also with the team.
Okay.
Well, M30 is almost impossible for me, so hey.
Yeah, M30 is a tough one.
It is.
In early March, I posted in the thread about
Yes.
looking at M30. I think that's why SEDS has the April date as the preferred primary date for the marathon, and March is technically the backup date. But
Got it.
trying to doesn't make a lot of logical sense skipping
Right.
March just to go to April, and then if April's weather is awful, then we missed it altogether.
Exactly.
So
No, April can be the fill-in date, for things we miss. So.
right,
Well, if unfortunately we have to start all over.
you
because
start
it can
all
only-
over. Yeah,
It can only
You
be in the
do?
same
Oh,
night,
okay.
technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our guys from Australia will try for M30. If they're cloudy, then I'll at least try for M30. Those are the only two guys that I've heard yet say that they think they can get M30. Otherwise,
I might be able to get it.
oh, good.
Yeah, but
Somebody further down south needs to,
It would help.
yeah.
I mean, are we allowed to use one of these kind of public or commercial remote access sites?
We could
In South Africa or
EAA, so
something
yes.
Telescope
the Hubble,
Live.
use the Hubble.
like that. The Hubble.
You get some time on the Hubble, let me know.
All right. Unless you guys have other questions, that's all I know of. It's just that simple. And hopefully one of us can sort of be acting as a dispatcher, like Jeff said.
You mean if someone actually has clouds or something?
Yeah.
yeah.
That won't happen. Come on.
We'll have to reset the live stream at the 12-hour mark. So it'll like restart. But then when we get done with it, we'll tie it all together and make it one.